allow it. Everybody got it? So number one, your personal story, the most valuable thing you got. Number two, physicality of your story. The telling of this story comes out of your molecules. And number three, generosity. Generosity. Now, I'm not talking about like, hey, generosity, Bo. Hey, I'm a big tipper, so I'm generous. Or, hey, Bo, you know what? I give a lot of money to charity. I'm not talking about that kind of generosity. I'm talking about the art of giving all of oneself, all of the time. Do any of you remember a guy named Jerry Rice? For those of you who don't know, Jerry Rice played for the San Francisco 49ers right down the street here, right? He's the greatest football player ever to play the game. So that game's been around for 100 years. He's the greatest player in the history of a game, okay? And the guy in second place, the guy who's in second place behind him is 60 touchdowns behind him. Do you know how long it takes to score 60 touchdowns in the NFL? If you could stay healthy long enough? You just can't. The guy in second place is 60 touchdowns behind him. He's far and away the greatest player ever. I used to play against this guy. It is a nightmare. At the end of my career, I played for the Houston Oilers for 4 years. I got traded in my 5th year to the San Francisco 49ers. So me and the greatest player in the history of the game are on the same team. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna check this out. Okay, good. So our first day of training camp. First day of training camp, Rockland, California. It's about 110 degrees. When I was a little boy, I made this little contract with myself that I would always be the first person on the practice field, and I would always be the last person to leave the practice field. And for 20 years, nobody ever beat me. I was always the first one out there and the last one to leave until I got traded to San Francisco. So I got to the locker room, first day of practice. I'm there an hour and a half before anybody else. I'm getting dressed. It's hot. I get dressed, get my uniform on, and I walk out to the practice field, and I look around. I was like, yeah, hell yeah. First one again. And then I look over here, and guess who's standing right there? The greatest player in the history of a game has beat me out there. First time ever, 20 years. I'd never seen it before. And I thought in my mind, how could this be? Shouldn't the lesser players be out there? Why is the greatest of all time, he's out there, not the lesser players, not the ones scrambling to try to make this team. So I get dressed. Well, the rest of the guys come out. Hour and a half later, me and Jerry by ourselves. Hour and a half later, all the rest of the team comes out. Joe Montana, Steve Young, Ronnie Lott, Randy Cross, great players, right? They come out, we start warming up. And the warm-ups are this. Joe Montana stands right over here, and Joe's gonna snap the ball. There's a line of 16 receivers right here. Jerry Rice is a receiver. He's in this line right here. He's in the middle of this line. Joe Montana's right there. He's going to throw these guys balls to warm up. Now, warm-ups in the NFL, you play very cool. You take training camp very easy. You don't want to get hurt. You just want to stay healthy till the regular season starts, right? It's also a time for rookies or lesser players to battle their ass off and try to make this team. So they got 16 guys lined up right here. First guy comes up, Joe Montana's right there, and this is the first play of warm-ups. This is what the first receiver does. Joe snaps the ball. The receiver comes off the line like half speed, kind of breaks off a little slant pattern. Joe throws the ball. The receiver catches it, and he stops. And he walks the ball back to Joe Montana, hands Joe the ball, gets back in line. Next guy comes up. Same thing, all pro glide, breaks off a little slant. Joe throws the ball, receiver catches it and stops. Walks the ball back to Joe Montana, hands Joe the ball, back in line. And then Jerry Rice came up. And I said, oh, good. I want to see this. And this is what he did. Whoom! Full speed, bam! Breaks it off, boom, catches the ball, whoom, gone, whoom, 100 yards, gone. We're all like, damn, where the hell's he going? He is gone 100 yards, gets all the way to the end zone. This is warm-ups. Turns around, runs 100 yards, full speed, back to Joe Montana, hands him the ball, back in line. Next guy comes up. He's going to run a little out pattern, right? This is what he does. All pro glide, cool, breaks it off. Joe throws the ball, catches it, stops. Walks the ball back to Joe Montana, hands Joe the ball, back in line. And then Jerry Rice came up again. And this is what he did. Boom! Full speed, bam, breaks it off, boom, catches the ball, boom, gone, again, and again, and again, and again. I've never seen anything like it. Every time he caught the ball, he ran 100 yards, put his body in the end zone, turned around, ran 100 yards back, handed the ball back in line. 3 hours. He must have run 10 miles of these sprints. I've never seen anything like it. So at the end of this 3-hour practice, I go up to Jerry. And I say, hey, man. I say, hey, man. Jerry, what the hell are you doing, man? I mean, what was all that? You know, that running. Why you do that? And Jerry Rice is like, oh, well, that's very simple, Bo. I do that because every time these hands touch a ball, this body ends up in an end zone. There is never an accident, ever, ever. He has trained his body that every time these hands touch leather, this body ends up in an end zone somewhere. We could have put this drill on the freeway with a bus, and he would have found the nearest end zone. Because his body's trained that way. Now this guy, I'm talking about generosity right now, right? My third critical step is generosity. I've never seen anybody in my life give as much of themselves as Jerry Rice did. And he's a football player. But then a couple years ago, my wife came running into our bedroom. She goes, Bo, guess what? Your old teammate, Jerry Rice, he's going to be on Dancing with the Stars. What do you think I said? He's going to win. And he did. He won, and he can't even dance. Jerry Rice was one of the all-time worst dancers in the locker room. But I knew he'd outwork those guys. He'd outwork them all because he gives of himself. He turns up the volume on his own generosity. It changed everything I did in my life. It changes who I am on stage. It changes how I go into my marriage. It changes how I parent my kids. If I ever back off, if I ever turn the volume down on my generosity, that's on me. That's on me. I just saw him make people deal with his humanity, with his generosity of spirit. People had to deal with that. And they had to look at themselves and they say, do I want to play at that level or should I just go home? And they made that decision. Now, a couple years ago, I was asked to marry this young couple, right? And I go, no, I'm not a preacher man. They go, no, you are. I said, okay, so I'll do it. So I go on the internet, and now I'm a preacher man, right? I like with one answer, right? So I'm in front of this church a couple years ago, and it's in Santa Barbara, in front of this beautiful couple, and they're beautiful families, and I'm standing in front of them. I never married anybody before, and so I never used notes or, that kind of stuff. So I bought this book that was leather bound, but it didn't have any writing in it. But I just wanted to look like I knew, like I was reading something in front of the church. So this is the first sentence out of my mouth in front of my first, presiding over a wedding. Now, when I think of marriage, the first person I think of is Jerry Rice. Every dude in the audience is like, my kind of wedding, finally, man, finally. And a lot of the gals in the wedding, in the church were like, was Jerry Rice a famous married man? I've never seen anybody give of themselves like he does. Now that is on you and me. We are going to play like Jerry Rice. Regardless if it's Dancing with the Stars, regardless if it's your marriage or you being on stage or in front of camera, you give them all you got. You turn up the volume, let them deal with your humanity. Watch the vulnerability come out of you when you give all of yourself. You watch what happens to you. You become unrecognizable and people have to follow you. Generosity. Number one, story, your story. The more personal, the more impact you have. Number two, physicality. We're really gonna get in this over the next 3-4 days. And then generosity. How much of that dial are you gonna turn up? You watch what I do. You watch what Brendan does. You watch what Roger does in these next 4 days. Watch what they do. You gauge. How much are they giving of themselves? Is there more to give? Is there? I'm constantly looking at that question. What more can I give to you so that you feel liberated to give all of yourself? What kind of world would that look like? Instead of everybody like parsing their little, protecting, oh, I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be cool like these freaking receivers that I can't remember one of their names because they're just too cool. No impact on the world. Jerry Rice, doesn't matter what his profession is, he changes the world. The other guys, I can't remember their names, and I was teammates of them because they didn't give all of themselves. Everybody understand this? Yes. Will you do this? Yes. Look, human beings are predators. We are noble. We are out for the good, okay? You must lead people. To do that, you must be in touch with your nature. You must be in line and obey Mother Nature so that you can be undefeated. Because no one's beat her. Will you do this? Yes. If only you just commit to this for the next 4 days, like until Sunday at whatever time we quit, 1 or 3, whatever it is, on Sunday, if you can just drop it, drop this thing that you think you are, that society has painted you to be, and what the media is telling you is acceptable. If you can put that to bed for the next 3-4 days, I promise you at the end of that, you will not be able to ever go back. You will never be able to go back. You will be dangerous. And you will have to be dealt with. And a lot of ladies, yeah, I see you laughing. A lot of ladies, they always go, well, Bo, that sounds awfully masculine. And my wife goes, Bo, you can't say that. That's too masculine. I'm going really to my wife. And you'll meet my wife. She's right there in the back of the room. Beautiful, right? Feminine, beautiful, awesome mom, right? Awesome wife. Nice, talented, funny. But you step in the way of one of her kids, you're dead. My mom was the same way with me and if you stepped in the way of my dream, my mom would take your throat out, out. And my mom's cool, right? So ladies, I don't want to hear it. You are the most lethal thing on the planet when it comes to protection. But we've got to access those instincts. Because I tell you right now, how many of you ladies have kids? If I put your kid right here, right? 3-year-old little Joey, beautiful as ever. And you get a madman with an axe in his hand, like this. Bringing up any emotion? What are you going to do? You going to be nice? You going to think? Or are you going to go, I wonder if that's politically correct? You ain't going to do. The person with the axe might as well lay down because they're dead. Do you understand? That's who you are. We love it. Stop apologizing for it. Everybody in touch with it? Yes. 4 days. There's no going back. You got it? Yes. Thank you.